The jungle at dawn holds its breath. Somewhere in the mist, a shape moves between the trees, low, deliberate, patient beyond reason. You're not the one doing the watching. There is an animal that has haunted human imagination for longer than most civilizations have existed. Painted on temple walls, woven into myth, feared, worshipped, nearly erased, and yet fewer than 6,000 of them remain on this entire earth. This is the story of Panthera tigris, the tiger, and what we stand to lose if we stop paying attention. Atlas of the Wild. Episode 1. The Tiger. In the next few minutes, we'll follow this animal across continents and centuries, from the frozen taiga of Siberia to the tidal rivers of India. And we'll discover that the tiger is stranger, more sophisticated, and more surprising than almost anything you've been told. Once, the tiger ruled a kingdom that stretched from the shores of the Caspian Sea across the vast breadth of Asia all the way to the island of Bali, eastern Turkey to the Indonesian archipelago. A range so enormous it seems almost impossible now to comprehend. Today, that world has shrunk. The tiger occupies less than 7% of the land it once claimed. 7%. A civilization of forests, grasslands, and river deltas, reduced in the span of a single century to scattered islands of wilderness. And yet, within those fragments, what worlds they are. In the Sundarbans of India and Bangladesh, tigers wade through the tidal channels of one of the largest mangrove forests on the planet. This is a place where the land and the sea can't quite agree on a boundary, where the ground shifts with the tide and trees grow from salt water. Here, tigers have become, uniquely among their kind, confident swimmers, crossing channels that would exhaust most large predators. Travel north, deep into the Russian Far East, and the same species exists in an entirely different universe. The Amur tiger, sometimes called the Siberian tiger, stalks through a frozen taiga of pine and birch, where temperatures can fall to -40. Their world is vast and silent and almost impossibly cold. And between those two extremes, in the subtropical forests of Southeast Asia, on the slopes of Bhutan's Himalayas, up to 4,200 meters above sea level, the tiger persists, adapting, enduring. One species, countless worlds. There are, as of the latest global count in 2022, somewhere between 5,638 and 5,899 wild tigers remaining. That number is both an encouragement, it has risen, and a sobering reminder of how close we came to losing them entirely. For all the tiger's grandeur, the burning coat, the impossible scale, it is, at its core, a hunter, and few predators on this planet are as committed to the craft of patience. Imagine it now, the dry season in central India. Late afternoon light filters through the teak and bamboo in long amber shafts. A sambar deer, one of the tiger's preferred prey, moves cautiously toward a waterhole. It pauses, lifts its head, scans the tree line. It sees nothing. That is precisely the point. The tiger has been watching this waterhole for the better part of a day, motionless, every muscle held in suspension, breath slow and controlled, waiting for the geometry of the moment to align perfectly. This is not impatience suppressed, this is something deeper, an almost meditative focus that can last for hours. When the tiger moves, it does so in a way that seems to defy its own size. A fully grown Bengal tiger can weigh 250 kilograms, and yet the approach is near silent. Paws placed with an almost surgical deliberateness. Closer, then closer still, and then the calculation tips. In a sprint that can reach 56 kilometers per hour, and with a leap that can cover 10 meters in a single bound, the tiger closes the distance before the prey's nervous system has fully registered the threat. The kill itself is swift, a bite to the throat, precise and powerful, cutting off both breath and blood. In the wild, efficiency is mercy. What follows is equally remarkable. A tiger can consume 50 kilograms of meat in a single sitting, roughly a third of its own body weight. It will then rest, sometimes for days, returning to the carcass as needed, dragging it, if necessary, to a more sheltered spot. The tiger is not a wasteful animal. Everything it does is calibrated. Even in excess, there is purpose. Now, here is where the tiger becomes something genuinely astonishing. That coat, the one that seems so blazingly obvious to our eyes, orange and black, vivid as a flame. Surely, you might think, a disadvantage in the forest. Surely the prey sees it coming from a mile away. But here is the twist. Most of the tiger's prey, deer, wild boar, gaur, are dichromats. They see the world roughly as a human, with red-green color blindness might. To them, the tiger's orange coat does not read as orange at all. It reads as green, the same shade as the dappled, sun-washed undergrowth the tiger moves through. That coat, the one that looks so conspicuous to us, is, in fact, a form of near-perfect camouflage for the animals it hunts. Then there are the teeth. A tiger's canines can grow to 7.6 centimeters in length, the longest of any living cat. These are not simply weapons. They are precision instruments, capable of finding the precise gap between vertebrae to sever the spinal cord, or maintaining the sustained pressure on a windpipe that constitutes the preferred killing bite. Look closely at a tiger's face, particularly the backs of the ears. You'll notice two white spots, one on each ear, surrounded by a ring of dark fur. Scientists believe these may function as false eyes, a startling, eye-like pattern visible from behind, potentially discouraging other predators or attackers from approaching undetected. The jungle is full of watchers, and even the apex predator has a rear guard. And then there is perhaps the most quietly remarkable fact of all. No two tigers share the same stripe pattern. Like a human fingerprint, each individual animal carries a completely unique arrangement, a biological signature pressed into every centimeter of fur. Researchers in the field use this to identify individuals from camera trap photographs alone, tracking the movements and fates of animals they may never be close enough to touch. The Siberian tiger, living in a world of ice, grows a coat up to 105 millimeters thick. 10 centimeters of insulation, dense and layered, allowing an animal the size of a grand piano to function at temperatures that would kill most other large mammals. And those rivers, 8 kilometers wide. The tiger crosses them, not reluctantly, but with what appears, if you allow yourself the word, like genuine pleasure. There is one more thing. A sound. Most people, if asked to describe the sounds a tiger makes, might offer a roar, low, chest-filling, resonant. And yes, tigers roar. But there is another sound, far less known, far stranger, that researchers and trackers have documented for decades without ever arriving at a satisfying explanation. It's called, in the field notes, a pock, a short, sharp, almost deer-like cough of a sound. Not a roar, not a growl, not a purr. something that doesn't quite fit the expected vocabulary of a great cat. And here is the mystery. It is heard most often at kills, not during the hunt, not in territorial encounters, at kills. After the effort and the violence have ended, in the quiet that follows, the tiger sometimes makes this soft, strange sound, again and again, as if announcing something, or processing something, or saying something to the forest that we don't yet have the language to translate. Scientists genuinely do not know what it means. In a world where we have sequenced the tiger's genome, tracked individuals across thousands of kilometers, and monitored their movements by satellite, there remains this small, stubborn pocket of mystery. A sound at a kill, in the dark, that no one fully understands. Perhaps that's the point. Perhaps an animal this ancient, this woven into the fabric of the living world, should be allowed to keep at least one secret. The tiger was listed as endangered by the International Union for Conservation of Nature in 1986. It has held that designation ever since, though the story is not entirely one of decline. India, which holds more wild tigers than any other nation on Earth, somewhere between 3,167 and 3,682 individuals, has seen remarkable recoveries in key reserves. Ranthambore, Bandhavgarh, Kaziranga. These are places where sustained protection, habitat management, and genuine political will have allowed tiger populations to rebuild over decades. It is proof, important proof, that the trajectory can be changed, but the arithmetic remains stark. Fewer than 6,000 animals distributed across fragmented habitats in 13 countries, separated by roads and farms and the sprawl of human settlement. Each isolated population faces its own set of pressures: poaching, prey depletion, the slow compression of the wild into smaller and smaller parcels. The tiger is listed on CITES Appendix 1, the highest level of international trade protection. Hunting it is illegal across its entire range. And yet, the illegal wildlife trade persists, driven by demand for bones, skins, and organs in certain traditional medicine markets. The question is not whether the tiger can survive. It has shown us, in India, in Nepal, in Russia, that with space and protection and the absence of guns, it absolutely can. The question is whether we will give it the room it needs. Next week, we travel north, far north, into a landscape of snow and salmon and ancient, silent forest. We'll meet a creature that can crush a bowling ball in its jaws, that can smell a carcass from 20 miles away in a headwind, and that spends a surprisingly large portion of its year eating moths and moths alone. A giant, a paradox, one of the most misunderstood animals on the continent. That's next Tuesday, on Atlas of the Wild. If this is a world you want to spend more time in, if you'd like to keep going deeper, one species at a time, hit subscribe. We're here every Tuesday and Friday, and every episode is built the same way, with care, with wonder, and with the genuine belief that understanding these animals is one of the most important things we can do right now. Thank you for watching. The wild is worth it.